How do you know which realtor to pick? You as a consumer have so many choices because you are inundated with everybody saying, pick me, I can help sell your house. I did a breakdown of the realtors in our area around Philadelphia to give you an idea of really how capable and how productive our realtor community is and what you need to be thinking about as you choose somebody to help you buy or sell a house. Stay tuned and we'll give you the details. So you have everybody out there telling you that they are the best. They're number one, they're top in their office, top in the area, and you're trying to figure out who is going to be the one that's going to help you with purchasing a home, either your first home or second or third home, or who's going to help you in trying to sell your home. You're probably one of your biggest assets that you ever have. Well, part of this evaluation really should come down to the level of experience that somebody has. First and foremost, you want somebody you can trust, somebody you can believe in, somebody that's going to be your advocate, somebody that's going to put your needs above everybody else's, including the agent. But second most, I think you need to look at experience. So we did a breakdown. We looked at the membership of our local association. In order to be a realtor, okay, which is different than an agent or a licensee, in order to be a realtor, you need to be a member of the National Association of Realtors. And in order to get access into the MLS system here, called Bright MLS, you need to be a member of not only the National Association of Realtors, NAR, you also need to be a member of the Pennsylvania Association of Realtors, PAR, and you have to be a member of the association that services the 3 collar counties. So I'm talking about the association that has the realtors in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, Chester County, Pennsylvania, and Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. So we're looking at Southeast Pennsylvania, and we look at our membership and we look at the productivity. So I found out the number of members that we have in that association for those 3 counties, and it's about 9,600 members and affiliates. Affiliates can be either lenders or home inspectors or something like that. So let's say a little over 9,000, maybe more, realtors in the 3 counties around Philadelphia. And I then went to Bright MLS, our MLS that supports this territory, this geography, and we looked at the production of those agents who are members in the 3 counties around here. And so we did a breakdown, and I want you to see what you're going to find here is going to be startling at the very least, and may give you some additional questions you may want to ask. So let's take a look at the first slide here. So we took a look first at the whole, and we did a breakdown. So we looked at the production. I asked Bright MLS, give me the production of all of the members in the MLS that belong to these 3 counties in our association. And let's get a breakdown of how much activity they've done between January of 2023 and August of 2023. So very recent data. And as you can see here, that these are for realtors. So we can only bear the designation of realtors by belonging to these associations, okay? And we need to belong to the association in order to belong to the MLS. A lot of people don't realize that, okay? And all of this costs agents money, something a lot of times the public doesn't realize. We have to belong to the NAR, we have to belong to PAR, we have to belong to the local association, and we have to belong to, in order to get access to the MLS. And all of those require us to pay money on a regular basis for us to be able to have access into this. And the MLS serves you, the public, because that's the avenue of which most of the homes are presented, and gives you the best information about any properties that are for sale in the area. So we looked at the production, and it was interesting. This is based on the number of transactions. So we wanted to see how many transactions that had been done in this period from January to August of this year. And you'll find some interesting statistics. Okay, first and foremost, 41% of the members of these 3 counties, the realtor members of these 3 counties, have not done any transactions this year. 0. So it's quite a large number. 17.8% have done 1 transaction, and 10.6% have done 2 transactions. 18.3% have done 3 to 6 transactions, 5.3% have done 7 to 9 transactions, and only 7% of that 9,000 some members in our 3 counties here have done 10 or more transactions this year. So let's look at this in more detail. So we want you to understand that practice does make perfect, or at least practice does give you a level of experience. No transaction is the same. And believe me, we learn from every single one. So if you only do, well, no transactions, how do you get any experience? Are you and your home going to be the experience number 1 for that agent? Is that what you want? Is that the risk you want to take? Let's take a look at this in more detail. So when we look at this slide, over 3,600 agents have 0 production this year. So if you selected a realtor by random, you have a 4 in 10 chance of getting someone with little or no experience. Do you want to be the person's first transaction and your most important asset? You want to think about that. Well, let's take a look at the next slide. So maybe they don't have 0 transactions, maybe they have 1 transaction. So how many are we looking at here? Okay, so approximately 1,700 realtors in this 3-county area have only had 1 transaction so far this year. So if you selected a realtor by random, you almost have a 1 in 5 chance of getting someone who has done just 1 transaction this year. Repeated experience over time leads towards mastery. 1 transaction a year does not lead towards mastery. You need to be doing this over and over and over again. The rules change, the circumstances change, the marketplace has changed, the documents change, the legal requirements change, the lending standards change. There is so much change going on a regular basis. If you do not actively practice in this business, you will not be aware of what's going on. Is that the chance you want to take as a consumer? Okay, so we've beat up the people that haven't done any transactions and the people who have done transactions. How about people who have done 2 transactions? Okay, twice as many as the people who have done 1. Let's take a look at this slide. Approximately 1,000 have done 2 transactions this year. So if you select a realtor by random, you have a 1 in 10 chance of getting someone who has done 2 transactions. While 2 transactions is 100% more than 1 transaction, it's still not a lot of repeated practice that adds to the confidence of the agent. Like we said, things are changing all the time. 2 transactions in 9 months. So if we look at this slide as a whole, so I want to pay attention. I want you to look at this now from the perspective of who has done 2 transactions or less. And now let's look at this data in it. And you may start to get a little concerned. Of that 9,000 person or realtor membership in these 3 counties, over 6,000 have done 2 transactions or less. That's 69%. If you select a realtor by random without doing your homework, you have an almost 7 in 10 chance of getting someone who has done 2 transactions or less. In the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, he laid out a hypothesis that suggested that someone needs to do 10,000 hours of some activity in order to develop mastery. Whether or not it's 10,000 hours of practicing the violin, or 10,000 hours of coding in a certain programming language, or let's use this example, 10,000 hours of direct real estate transaction experience to develop mastery. At this rate of 2 transactions or less a year, how long is it going to take before these people develop mastery in their profession? So we've looked at the grouping of people that haven't done a whole lot of business. Let's start looking about what's the size of the population of those people who have done maybe 3 or more transactions. So we looked at this, and approximately 1,700 have done 3 to 6 transactions this year. That'd be like 1 a month, or 1 every 2 months. Approximately 500 have done 7 to 9 transactions. That would be one a month. And approximately 470 have done 10 or more transactions this year. So looking at that from this perspective, 28% have sold 3 or more transactions in 2023. That's it. Just, 1 in 4. So if you select a realtor by random, you have an almost 7 in 100 chance of getting someone who has done 10 or more transactions this year. 7%. So if someone has done 10 or more transactions this year, it's likely that they have done it successive years in a row. This is a very, very challenging year for almost all realtors. And even those who are still turning out quite a bit of business will tell you that it's a challenge and it's hard. But they're getting it done. And if they could get it done in a year like this, they've been able to get it done in years past. And they're probably going to be able to get it done in years going forward. But that's only 7%. So you got to take a look around as a consumer. You've got to do a little more work than just, picking the first name that pops up on Zillow. Because you know what? Zillow doesn't care. Okay, they're going to present to you the agent that paid them the most money to put their name up there. They're not checking out if they've done enough transactions to develop mastery. So the consumer should know. The consumer should know that there's problems on almost every transaction. Okay, some of which the consumer never sees. Okay, but there are things that go on behind the scenes that get resolved. Okay, having an agent who knows how to resolve them makes a difference. Having an agent to know what kind of problems could come up and gets ahead of them and makes them so they're not even problems, that takes somebody with experience. Experience is gained by doing and learning repeatedly. Something is learned from every transaction. We learn from every transaction. Something we could have done a little better, some little better part of service, some little hiccup that we missed, but we were able to, quickly resolve. But we put something, into our process to prevent that from happening again. Every property's got something unique about it. Somebody owned something in the past, or something comes up from the history that you didn't know about. It can be quite challenging, let alone some of the complexities we have when we're dealing with multiple owners or out-of-state owners or estates or more complicated transactions. In which we have a lot of work we have to do in order to make sure that things are done accurately, properly, legally, and above board, and that all the parties are getting served properly. How long you've had a license is not as important in how frequently you practice. You're going to have people out there say, I've had my license for 25 years. I've had my license for 40 years. Ask them how many transactions they have done recently. Okay, they may have done a lot of transactions in the past. They may have been quite good agents in the past, but things change a lot and quickly, and they need to be up to speed on all that. So just because somebody's had a license for 30 years doesn't mean anything. Ask them, how many transactions did you do this year? How many transactions did you do last year? That'll give you a better indicator of how current they are, how fresh they are, how up to date they are. The questions you ask and the facts to ask the agent to present to you are key in understanding their experience level. So clients look to the agents to help them with many needs. You're looking for trade professionals, professional services such as CPAs, financial advisors, attorneys, agents in other states. The client benefits from these long-standing relationships. Okay, you want somebody who's current and present with all these other parties as well. They're going to be able to help you along through the transaction, and maybe before the transaction starts, and maybe after the transaction ends. See, the public is unaware of the risks they take when they don't make an effort in choosing the right realtor for them, doing their own due diligence, asking the type of questions about how many transactions you've done. Have them explain to you one of the most difficult transactions. Have them explain to you a transaction of which there was something that they had to learn as a result, or something that came up that was a learning for them. Have them explain to you what their average days on market are. Have them tell you what the ratio is between what the listing price is and what the settled price was. What's the ratio between what the asking price was and what their client paid for it? You know, have them give you an example of their negotiating. Not have them tell you they're good negotiators. Have them give you an example of a deal in which they had to negotiate. Because I can tell you right now, if somebody is throwing the most amount of money with no contingencies and no inspections and no mortgage or anything else like that, there isn't a whole lot of negotiation is taking place. But if they have to come in and offer a price less than ask and negotiate and try to get that accepted and get inspections and have repairs done and have issues with appraisals or have problems with the township's requirements and how they negotiated through that, that is going to be a better demonstration of their skills. So out of 10 random realtors, 7 of those will have sold less than 3 houses this year. In fact, the odds of the Eagles winning the 2024 Super Bowl are better than you getting an agent who has sold more than 2 homes. Now, we're all Eagles fans here in Southeast Pennsylvania. Okay, and we all hope for them to go to the Super Bowl. But you know, that's a heavy lift here in the beginning of the season to actually think that it's better odds of the Eagles going to the Super Bowl than you getting an agent that sold more than 2 homes. I think you'd want better odds of that with one of your most important assets. So we hope you've enjoyed this. I hope at least it's a little enlightening to you. Please give us a like or a subscribe or share this out to someone so that they too can be better informed. Have a great day.